The warlord called himself Supreme Executor Varric. Of the Thal Dominion he ruled 3 systems and crushed 4 rebellions. His fleets were iron. His soldiers were engineered giants. His word was law today. He wanted an audience, the grand convocation. Hall floated above the trade world of Eric's prime delegates from 20 species filled the vast circular chamber. Banners of light shimmered in the air. Armed guards stood at every archway. Warships drifted outside the transparent ceiling like silent predators. At the center of the chamber stood a single human. She was small. She wore simple gray fabric, no armor, no visible weapon. Her name was Mara Ilian, age 19. Citizen of Earth, was classified as a Class 12 Deathworld high gravity. Violent storms, predators with teeth and venom, tectonic rage beneath thin crust humans had reached the stars only 12 cycles ago. They had no empire, no ancient fleets, yet they had refused dominion. Varric descended from his elevated throne. His armor was black-edged and gold energy coils hummed along his shoulders. A gravity mantle rippled behind him like a storm cloud. He raised one massive hand. Silence fell across the chamber. Behold, he said, a creature of a primitive and defiant world. Her kind refuses treaty and tribute. Her kind destroys dominion vessels. The holographic display ignited above them. It showed burning wreckage drifting in space. Human, he continued, commanded a vessel that destroyed 3 Dominion cruisers before. Capture murmurs spread through the delegates. 3 cruisers from a species barely spacefaring. Varric turned toward Mara. You stand here to witness power. Her hands were bound in a restraint field. Her face bore bruises. Her lip was split, but her eyes were steady. Release her, Varric commanded. The restraint field vanished. Dominion champion stepped forward. He stood nearly 3 meters tall, armor layered over muscle. He carried a plasma halberd humming with white heat. The chamber sealed a combat barrier. Shimmered into place. Begin, Varric said. The champion charged. He moved with terrifying speed. The halberd came down in a killing arc. Mara was not there. She pivoted aside. The blade struck stone and carved molten lines. She stepped inside his reach and drove her fist into a gap beneath his arm. The champion grunted. He swung again. The plasma edge grazed her shoulder fabric. Burned skin blistered. She did not cry out. She seized the halberd shaft with both hands. Smoke rose from her palms. Gasps rippled across the chamber. With a violent twist she pulled. The champion stumbled. She drove her forehead into his visor. The crack rang through the hall. The champion roared and ignited suit boosters. He slammed into her. They crashed across the floor stone. Shatterdust rose. The champion stood first. His visor fractured his breathing. Heavy. Mara pushed herself upright. Blood ran down her brow. Her hands were raw and burned. She smiled. It was calm. It was steady. It was unafraid. The champion hesitated. Finish it, Varric ordered. The champion lunged, again aiming to impale. Mara ran toward him. At the last instant she leaped forward. She planted one foot on the halberd shaft and vaulted upward. Her legs wrapped around his helmet. With a sharp twist she snapped sideways. The cracked visor shattered. She dropped behind him. She drove the blunt end of the weapon into the back of his knee. Joint armor buckled. The giant fell. She deactivated the plasma edge. With a motion learned from watching, then she placed the weapon at the base of his exposed neck. Guild, she said. Her voice was steady. After a long moment the champion tapped the floor twice. The barrier dissolved. Silence filled the Halveric studied Herm. Impressive, he said. For your mass where I come from, she replied. This is called a bad Tuesday. Confused murmurs spread. Varric circled her. Your world breeds durability, high gravity, constant threat. You survive harsh conditions. He stopped in front of her. But durability is not power. He raised his hand. The floor Shifted restraint drone surged forward and locked onto Mara energy fields, pinned her limbs. Chamber lights dimmed, a new hologram appeared. Earth blue oceans, white clouds. Continents turning slowly. Mara, whence still Dominion fleets now orbit your home. Varric said, I spared it for this demonstration. Neil, pledge your species to the Dominion serve and your world lives, a targeting grid spread across. Earth gasps, echo die. Hold your entire species in my hand, Varric said. This is power. Mara stared at the image for a long moment. She said nothing. Then she looked back at him and she smiled again. Do it, she said. The chamber went silent. Beric demanded, you think we do not understand fear, she said. We grow up on a world that tries to kill us. Storms tear cities apart, quakes, split ground, disease hunts. The weak predators stalk the dark. We bury our dead and keep building. She strained slightly against the restraints. They creaked. You think threat makes us kneel, it makes us focus. Billions will die, Varric said. Yes, she answered, and the rest will come for you. Murmurs surged, empty defiance. Varric said, is it? She asked. She nodded toward the hologram. Check the far side of the moon. Varric gestured sharply. The image rotated on the dark side of Earth. Moon faint signals shimmered. Officers began shouting. Unidentified vessels, hundreds, small and powered down. The signals ignited engines. Flared. More signatures appeared from the asteroid belt, from hidden ocean launch bays, from behind solar glare. Human ships knew you would come in force, Mara said. We let you take me. We let you think you were in control. The first Dominion cruiser erupted in silent fire above. Earth shock rippled across the chamber. Human vessels swarmed. Mining lasers cut through armor. Civilian transports rammed destroyers. Small craft overwhelmed heavy guns. We are not strong because we survive pain, Mara said. Another cruiser shattered. We are strong because we protect each other. Varric turned to his officers. Engage all fleets. Reports flooded in Dominion formations. Collapsing command ships, disabled communications. Disrupted delegates began transmitting, recording, witnessing. Human task forces jumped into the Erix system. They had followed the Dominion fleet. They had come for her. Varric felt the shift in the chamber, fear moving away from Mara toward Himkul, then back. She said quietly, end it too. Would bargain now? He asked. I am offering mercy, she replied. Words struck deeper than any blad alarms. Whaled human ships formed defensive positions around Erix Prime. They did not fire. They waited. Varric looked at the hologram of Earth Dominion ships burning, retreating, jumping to safety. He looked at the delegates, at the balance of power shifting before his eyes. Slowly he raised his hand signal. All Dominion forces, full withdrawal, immediate ceasefire. Officers obeyed. One by one Dominion vessels vanished into jump space. Human ships held formation until the last hostile signature disappeared. Silence returned. The restraint drones released. Staggered once, then stood tall. You risked your species, Varric said. Yes, she replied. For each other you could have been destroyed, he said. Maybe, she answered. But you would not survive what followed. He believed her, not only because of the fleet, but because of her burned hands, blood on her face. Unarmored Smingarak turned to the assembly. The Thal Dominion recognizes Earth as a sovereign equal. All hostilities. Enshock moved through the chamber, then scattered. Applause. Human vessels remained in orbit, watchful but restrained. Hours later, Mara stood aboard a human command ship. Medics treated her burns. Bandages wrapped her. Earth turned peacefully on the viewscreen. Her captain approached. Too frightened him, he said. She shook her head. No, she replied, we frightened him. She watched the stars beyond the glass, and a Deathworld strength was never about size. It was never about who could threaten the most destruction. Real power was standing together when something larger tried to make you kneel. Real power was choosing not to strike when you finally could. Done. Sometimes the most powerful weapon in the galaxy was a human smile that refused to fade